Hey guys and gals, what is going on? Jonny Middleton here. I am joined once again by my awesome hard rocking cousin, Travis 281 for review number 3 of this awesome alternative week series. And as you may have seen earlier in the day, we did an L7 cover, hence why we haven't changed guitars just yet. So, but yeah, for the third band, you know, it's really like an artist that's like close to our hearts, and it's similar like relevance to Soundgarden, which you said was personal, dude.
Indeed, it's a band that has influences personally, if not the band which has influenced me the most into rock music.
And you know, this band really did, you know, really were like really having like played a really like integral part, you know, in this genre's development. And I've already reviewed one of these band's albums for y'all, and it is, what can you say? It's the bands that featured the legendary Kurt Cobain. Reveal all, Travita.
Nirvana.
With that, and I think it's really relevant that we like talk about Nirvana, because these guys, as you were saying, like the form 1987, which was like the sort of the bracket for like the years that we're doing this from, and
Kurt Cobain off the back of the band Fecal Matter.
Indeed, and if you listen to that recording on YouTube, it's very, very scuzzy, and
it's early interpretation of Bleach.
Yeah, and with like earlier thing with this, they do like the steaming pile of turd that can like describe the production of the album.
Very cheap.
It is, and but you know, that was like what Kurt was into, like a lot of punk rock influence, and yeah, these guys were again like another part of like Sub Pop Records, like
one of the earliest after Soundgarden.
Amen to that, my friend. And you know, they were put out their debut show, which was called Bleach in 1989. And yeah, like the thing is with Bleach, like as you said, like Kurt said, like a lot of like pressure from Sub Pop.
He felt a lot of pressure from Sub Pop to play rock and roll. I guess this is where the whole grunge idea comes from, just like rebelling, and especially when it came to writing lyrics on Bleach, it's apparent that he wrote most of the lyrics the night before recording, or even on the drive there.
I read that too.
Indeed, because apparently Kurt was just wanting to be pissed off at everything. He just had this angry attitude, and so he doesn't feel too closely to the lyrics. He doesn't regard them very highly. He just wrote them in a pissed off manner, and that's how you get the lyrics on Bleach, which you can pretty much tell, especially with the way he sings a lot of the stuff on Bleach.
I know, it's like it worked for the moments where it's like, you know, it's just like his lowest ebb and then it start writing.
Yeah.
And you know, the album title itself, Bleach, is a reference to heroin needles.
Yes, it was originally going to be called Too Many People, I think.
And that's not really Nirvana like talking about that, is it really?
No, Too Many Humans, that was the name of it.
Maybe it is.
And while on tour or travelling to the studio, they got a leaflet of AIDS awareness, and it said it was for heroin users, and it said to bleach your needles before using to stop the spread of AIDS in the blood.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't actually know that until like I read the issue of Kerrang, which was the tribute to Kurt.
I just found it on the internet.
There's plenty to find most things these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on Bleach, like, you know, Kurt really like it's kind of, would you say he's like found his voice like straight away? Like,
definitely, I do feel it's this angry thing which is returned to later on in utero, and I just think you've got a good setting for what Kurt was going for. Even Fecal Matter, I mean, it sounds weird, but it's got this aggressive, shouting vocals.
Yeah, it's like Kurt knew where he wants, like straight away in many ways.
Yeah, something different, not rock and roll, punk, hard rock sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, you know, tapping into like, you know, what like Soundgarden and L7 were doing, you know, like trying to make like a variation of punk rock in many ways. You know, on Bleach you got songs up behind like Blue and Floyd the Barber. You know, these are like, you know, the production's a bit scuzzy and fuzzy. That's just like a recurring thing to do like throughout the 80s with lo-fi production stuff.
And again, it's like the first Foo Fighters album.
Oh, that is the epitome of Dave Grohl's on his own, but yeah, that's just at the end. So, but yeah, it's like sounds like About a Girl, like, you know, first instance.
It's not bad, the production on About a Girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, you know, that's the first instance of like, you know, Kurt like really utilises like, you know, acoustic, you know, just showed like he could write in different styles, I suppose.
Especially as well as saying different styles. The first single that was released on the Blue EP and featured on Bleach is the cover, Love Buzz, which was a cover of a name which does escape me.
I can't think of
a Dutch actor, Robin van Llewellyn.
Well done.
Louis, I don't know. Some Dutch artist who was born in the 40s. And just the bass riff in Love was
Oh no, that like really catches my attention straight away.
Mixing with the grunge guitars as well, it just makes it a classic track to start off Nirvana's career.
Yeah, it's like the song, not Negative Creep, Paper Cuts, I think.
Paper Cuts.
Because like, that's a strong, like, I got a strong like, Alice in Chains vibe from that song too.
Because, well, Nirvana did use some aggressive tuning as well, like, well I say this, but it was used aggressive. Like Drop D is apparently used on Bleach and D-Stack. There's 4 different tunings going on, not unlike Nevermind, where it's more simple standard tuning. Nirvana were very creative in the early days.
It's like Nevermind was like, you know, your polished record, like, you know, like the album was gonna like, you know, be like the mainstream Nirvana if you could even phrase it like that. And like when I first heard Bleach, you know, like the one thing that struck me straight away was like, there was how melodic it was, you know, like all the tracks that like stand out there in like unique way.
Definitely about to go. Definitely.
That is a great song. I mean, like, you know, you got like your acoustic stuff like that. You've also like there's lots of really heavy songs on that album too.
Where he's Kirsty screaming, "Give me back my alcohol."
Yes. Gallons of alcohol flowing through the strip, but that's the new thrift special edition.
Well, there's tracks prior to Bleach which were featured such as Floyd Barber and Paper Cuts, which you already mentioned, and Downer, which featured the drummer Dale Crover, who is, I think he's credited on the album, but because most of the album is Chad Channing, the drummer, prior to Dave Grohl.
Although, unfortunately, neither was any album Bleach. It's something that we'll be looking to add to our collection soon, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so we've only got Nevermind and you.
But yes, for all of you Nirvana fans out there that thought Dave Grohl's there from the start, you got nothing coming.
He only came in 1990.
And,
he pretty much united the band, seeing as he went through so many drummers before this. Fortunately, before Nevermind, he just gave them.
Yeah, it seems to be a problem point for him to do like the drummers. Like, you know, like Kurt was always like, you know, they never happy with like the drummer in the band because Chris changed it.
Either. Yeah. And also, with guitarist wise, on the cover of Bleach, there are 2 guitarists including. You've got Kurt with your left hand guitar, but there's also a right hand guitarist, and it's like this is not a Chris Novoselic.
So Nirvana originally a 4-piece, then, did?
No, a 4-piece originally from the start. I don't think they accompanied a guitarist during the process of recording Bleach called Jason Everman, who we mentioned yesterday in the Soundgarden video.
He stood on the Loud and Love tour.
On the bass, was it?
I think so.
He was on the bass before Ben Shepherd. And see, he was only in Nirvana for a bit. He was put on the front cover to feel more at home in Nirvana, I guess, and he didn't last very long.
Yeah, I guess
band.
I guess that was like a nice touch, like, you know, Nirvana like sort of let him off easily, I suppose. And
I like the cover. It's just like Soundgarden's old covers of Ultra Mega OK and Louder Than Love. Just
it's like live action shots.
It is a lot. It was by Kurt's girlfriend at the time at a gig.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And like let's just say like guys, like, you know, Bleach, like when Nirvana like still open drummers, and then like they signed to Geffen Records because, like, you know, apparently Sub Pop wasn't like working out the best for them. And then like, you know, they released the album which is influenced amongst most music fans today. It's the album I reviewed before for y'all. You know, it really enlightened the alternative rock scene, and there you can see
Almighty Nevermind,
featuring Spencer Allen, who was didn't really like step up from that moment. That was like his finest hour. But yeah, like Nevermind, it showcased like a different side to Nirvana, because as we'll get to, like, you know, all of Nirvana's albums like different in their own unique way.
One thing to carry on with Bleach though is that prior to Nevermind, it had sold 40,000 copies, which I still think is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
it was well received by critics, but not in the charts. But, you know, what?
Yeah, because it's like, as we said in like the L7 review, guys, like, you know, Sub Pop's like more of like an independent label. Like the art song didn't really sell too well.
Because of Nevermind and its popularity, they re-released Bleach. Because I looked at these tracks, like it was like top 12 Nirvana tracks, and About a Girl was there from Bleach, and it was like, when did it peak? It's in 1992, and because of the popularity of Nevermind, they re-released Bleach 1992 reissue, and it's now sold 1.7 million.
It just shows
platinum in both UK and America.
Yeah, I think it's like a good move for the band, like, you know, not just necessarily to like get the money for it, but also like, you know, to alert fans that have grown up with Nevermind that have got like Bleach.
There was stuff before then. There was more raunchy, raw grunge, grunge.
Yeah, like, you know, Bleach is a really like raw sound now, and like, you know, the production's better on it than say like, you know, Ultra Mega OK or L7 for instance, but, you know, like that rawness is there, you know, like typified like grunge in the 80s, I'd say. You know, like, obviously, like, Nevermind is just, like, full of songs that, you know, everyone knows about. I mean, it starts with Smells Like Teen Spirit.
You pronounce some like mainstream breaker from Nirvana.
Yeah, like it's like as soon as MTV like started airing that song, you know, it like captured like the whole like imagination of like Generation X and new rock fans.
And the grunginess of the video, especially, it's not clean at all. There's dust everywhere. It's got a sepia tint, would you say?
Yeah, it's sort of reinforced the idea that like, you know, grunge is like, you know, it's just anything that,
you know, it's dirty. It's not getting a shower. It's
yes.
you're not doing your homework.
It's like these dudes just like walk on the streets and play, you know, and I think that's rock and roll, you know. But obviously, like with Bad Motorfinger and Breaks Heavy, you know, there's more to the sound than just Smells Like Teen Spirit. You know, like the second song, for instance, In Bloom, which, you know, it contains like an instantly, you know, recognisable and
Heavy
riff.
rock. Yeah, a heavy rock, but also use of effects in the solo.
Yeah, that's true. Because
nothing was kept. Well, this album is more simple in comparison to Bleach and In Utero, but it was still not kept simple.
More polished, dude.
More polished, highly commercial. Just Kurt wanted to be commercial.
And then it gets into.
I get it.
It gets into Commercial Wow, which is the third song, which is probably it's probably one of my most favourite Nirvana songs. And again, it's different to the previous two tracks, which again, you know, this album is so diverse.
It's a lot. You can see you've got this hard, heavy hitting stuff and Smells Like Teen Spirit and In Bloom, but then it comes down a bit. You get comes down more of this chorus, heavy guitar riffs.
Yeah, and I think like this album was like, because like the band that was like this track, it's like loud, quiet, dynamic. It was like it's like the Smiths or something, or
Smiths. A lot of bands are influenced by the Smiths.
Yeah, it's like there's one band like the Pixies. That's the one.
Oh right, yeah.
Sorry, not the Smiths.
Okay, I know what you mean now.
Yeah, and it's like the sound was like so, with like Bleach, you know, like the song's like raw and rough. That's how like retains like the course of the album. But then it gets like, you know, never mind. There's like the whole host of like diversity going on. I mean, like with Commercial Alex, it starts as like, you know, really like basic guitar riff. You know, and it contains the aggression from Bleach with songs just like Breathe.
Yeah,
for instance, which is just like a 2-minute like blast of noise.
And Territorial Pissings to add to that as well.
That's true.
Simple guitarists, but simple is sometimes better.
Yeah, I mean that's what Kurt Cobain was like so good at, you know, like coming up with like really simple and incredibly catchy and infectious guitar melodies. You know, but then you like get the acoustics of like. I was the same as dude. Yeah, it's like Polly's like this album's about a girl, but in a much more like raw.
Well, I say he takes on the role of a sociopath.
It like he empathises with him in many ways.
Polly, you know, parrot is just a metaphor for this girl who's got as a sociopath got tied up.
Yeah, it's like lyrical reference, like Polly wants a cracker and
it's to go into the mind of Kurt Cobain writing this song. But what's your favourite version of Polly? Because there's a new wave version on the Incesticide. I think it's on the Incesticide.
New wave? I've not actually heard Incesticide, dude.
Basically, it's Polly but electric.
I think I'd rather stick to the acoustic. It just has like a really nice vibe if it's like the flow of the album. You know, but then you get like you know, more simple songs sometimes like Drain You and Stay Away, for instance.
Oh, and the Lounge Act. Oh, like Drain You, Lounge Act, Stay Away. It's more aggressive vocals as well, especially in Stay Away, saying the title track itself. But yeah, they suit well with Breed and Territorial Pissings, the simple power chordy guitars.
Yeah, I mean, like on this album, like Kurt Cobain, I don't think would you say it wasn't like it didn't actually like intentionally get himself angry to write the lyrics, but you know,
I guess the lyrics are more meaning this time than before, especially Polly. That would have taken, I think, a bit of time.
Absolutely. I mean, he holds these lyrics like in higher regard than say like the ones he does on Bleach.
Yeah, and following on with Polly, there's On a Plane. It's not as aggressive. See, there's a good mixture of styles on this album.
It's great, you know, for diversity.
Exploring different areas.
I know it's like some people like, you know, I really enjoy No Mind. You know, it may be like the most commercial album. It's sort of like
Sorry, Karen.
Sorry. Yeah, it's like led to, you know, maybe partly influenced Kurt's self-destruction, but you know, the songs on it, you know, they really do stand out. You know, it's like being like.
That's what I was just going to say, is that there is 4 singles from this album. There's Smells Like Teen Spirit, In Bloom, Come As You Are, and Lithium. Yet each song is in a world of its own. Everyone can pick out these songs from this album. I mean, most people go, oh yeah, Smells Like Teen Spirit. But when I think of, I'll think of Breathe first, or I'll think of Territorial Pissings first. It's a bit like Oasis's What's the Story of Morning Glory, because each song...
Absolutely do, but the thing is, like, with no mind of What's the Story of Morning Glory, because both have, like, the great flow, despite being, like, so much diversity, like, musically. You know, and this, like, the twisted, well, you know, like, the mentality Kurt Cobain, it's like summed up by like what happens in the scene between the final song, Something in the Way, which is sort of like it's like it's like an extension of Polly in many ways. It's like it's more somber and
it's definitely more somber and it's more of with Something in the Way you get about 3 minutes of Something in the Way.
You do, and
then quite a while of silence, and then you get Endless Nameless.
Which basically, like as I said in my initial review for the Sound Guys, like Kurt, like it couldn't nail his guitar parts to one song, so basically like just took out all his aggression, like the band started playing on and recorded the song.
It's like a good. It's still like Bleach is still there, and it's also a good way to move on to In Utero. You were saying something about Something in the Way earlier today.
I was. It's about like how Kurt Cobain was like kicked out of his house by his parents being too rebellious. Like basically, like he lived under this bridge for a while, and like wrote the song about his time there, I suppose.
Yeah. And also, this album is produced by the almighty Butch Vig,
who was responsible for also several albums during this time period, which is like Bricks and Heavy, which we've already covered. So, after Nevermind, like it doesn't go straight into their next album. We got
it's just 1991 though. It's just a penultimate year because
it is like
bands such as Pilgrim.
Indeed, and. Yeah, like 1971 was like like as you were saying, like a really integral year for alternative music.
There is stuff in between Bleach and Nevermind, stuff between Nevermind and In Utero.
Yeah, it shows just like how much material like Kurt Cobain had.
Yeah, so from the, it's not. Would you say it's an extended playlist? Or well, it's not really. It's like a B-sides album. I don't know.
Incesticide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it contains like some other cuts, but you got songs just like Sliver on there, which is
Being a Son.
Absolutely, which are both like like
I think School is featured on there.
I think School's on Bleach actually.
Yeah, I think it's featured on there as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's a classic track, School.
Is it like in like a revised format in many ways?
I think so, yeah, a lot of stuff is a bit different on there because Being a Son is actually featured on the Blue EP.
So, did I precede Bleach?
That was preceded, wow. Bleach.
You see, I learn something every day from this guy.
Blue is 1980. Yeah, it could be.
If that was the case, it's about a year before Bleach came out. So,
Bleach is at the end of December, early January. I think it was recording.
And then put it out later.
It could be 1989 Blue. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, wow, sounds good. Like it shows like the quality of material, like on the Incesticide EP, for instance, which came after Nevermind. Like the quality of the material from the quality of the music was still like present.
Especially, there was a lot of quality music videos, I guess.
Yeah, like
in Blue. Well, I guess in Blue would.
And Blue was like.
I just wanted to reinforce that Sliver. It just goes back to that grungy sort of music video in a garage.
It does. Yeah.
In a room.
Yeah, it's like DIY, like homemade music, I suppose. It's like proper raw, and it typified like the early spirit of grunge, which was shown in the 80s through like the emergence of punk, like stepping on from punk rock to this genre. And then like obviously like with In Utero, which my amigos hold up here for y'all. Because the thing is like with both Nevermind and In Utero, like in terms of artwork, like on both the back of like the artwork, it's like get like a very like cool image, which is probably composed by Kurt Cobain. As I'm sure that I showed to you guys in my Nevermind review. It's basically like Kurt like took some like photos, basically put some pictures together and his like collection. And like used it to like composed artwork, It's not like what he did with the lyrics, so I want to do, like he basically took it from like poetry and stuff.
And there's a lot of, with the album artwork on the back, but with the front, there's apparently a lot of medicinal influence, especially you can tell by the figure at the front, and also with the lyrics, there's apparently a lot of medicinal.
Yeah, like, I think that Kurt did have like an obsession with like that sort of stuff, like
stuff in heart-shaped boxes as well. We've been in the hospital.
That is true, and that sort of like reinforces. I get a vibe for like the actual back cover I did with that heart-shaped box video too. I don't know if you're the same.
Eerie, murky sort of filming of the.
Yeah, it really signifies like Seattle, but alternative music. Like
one of my favourite music videos today.
Yeah, it's a really good song too, and
I guess I like music videos with the weird sort of tint to like Black Hole Sun.
I mean, it's good for writing. It's good to like change effects and stuff.
It's a lot darker, this album.
Absolutely.
Nevermind. I guess it's just the dealing with this commercial success and a big fuck you to the commercial success of Nevermind, because Nirvana pretty much did this deliberately, pretty much like they did the lyrics on Bleach deliberately.
They did, and Kurt was obviously like he wanted a different direction than In Utero. Like he wants to like step away from like the commercial polished sound of his predecessor Nevermind.
Different.
And that was why like it's sort of like a major label like suggested a producer, but obviously like Kurt wanted Steve Albini, who was like more like an independent underground producer, made like first like low budget bands.
Yeah, diverge away from.
And I think that's why like in Utero like sort of like it like brings back like the rawness from Bleach, or obviously it's a more refined like format, because obviously like the band had like evolved like and got better as musicians
and more popular as well.
That's true, but then you get like songs like real reminiscent of Bleach, like Senseless Apprentice.
Yeah, Service Servants. Well, Service Servants is more of a, but Senseless Apprentice, yeah, it's more angry. We're saying, is it Getaway?
Yeah, it's just like real, like Kurt Cobain's like plethora, like screaming and stuff.
Well, I guess Service Servants. This whole album is a completely different tonality to what the guitars and music has on Nevermind.
It does,
especially seeing Service Servants using different tunes again, different. Pedals, everything for Kurt's guitars, different amps and everything.
It's just like really drive home that force. Like Nirvana, like wanted to like create something different. You know, like it's so dark. I mean, like you get songs such as like, but there are like moments of the songs. Like it's not all like really aggressive. You get like songs such as like Dumb, for instance, which is more like more melodic and not as like.
Yeah,
in your face.
More slower. I guess suits the name.
It does.
You see, because Bleach was very bleak and dark,
yeah.
And then this is even darker. It just raped me as well, just having a track like that.
Yeah, because you were saying like on Bleach, like Kurt didn't like want to like as direct or something. Yeah. He just went full A-bomb and wrote songs like.
You wanted to just go crazy with the lyrics. I mean, although he didn't want to offend anyone or do anything too embarrassing with the lyrics.
Yeah, but then I think Kurt realised like he'll just like he doesn't care. He'll just write what he wants and. I think it's like good because like Kurt was saying like, this album was like the album that the band like wanted to make, and it's, if you get like the full like expression of Kurt Cobain, you can really that adds like more credit to like something like maybe polished like Nevermind was in many ways. It's like there is like diversity on this album, like there's like so much like as I say like it's more like a more refined Bleach in many ways.
I agree.
But there's also songs like I was saying like All Apologies as well. Or
yeah, and then Penny Royalty.
Yeah, it shows like.
I guess I feel that's more of the backbone of Nevermind.
That's what I was thinking too. That should read my mind.
All Apologies. I think it's good on this album, but on Unplugged in New York is even better.
That's just amazing. It's like the thing is like these like alternative bands like they're more aggressive material. It's more stripped down and acoustic.
Yeah, you see, they're not just these angry bands. They are these very creative musicians at the end of the day.
Absolutely, it's to portray a mood and a vibe, which what this genre is all about. There's also like as we're playing like we've got songs like Milk It as well, or
another aggressive song, especially with the solo. It's just random soloing and stuff.
Yeah, I think it signifies because then like the band like went to the studio to like record themselves like initially like jam.
They did it very quickly this album.
They did like it was a deliberate attempt to more like punk rock, like to go away from that mainstream vibe which from their predecessor. Like the band initially started playing, like, it was just like noise that like the producer
they had to use two producers on this one, didn't they?
I think so.
There's one who tried to like make a more refined sound, and then another one who did some remixing on tracks such as All Apologies.
Yeah, I think like one of the band members like girlfriends came to like inspire them or something.
Hopefully it wasn't Connie Love.
Although I think there's a story behind the riff for Heart Shit Box. Like Kurt Cobain was in like a huge wardrobe and just came up with a riff, and like Courtney overheard him playing it. Obviously that mainly influenced on what came on the album.
Okay.
So yeah, but obviously In Utero is a much different beast to Nevermind. It didn't sell as much as Nevermind.
It sold half. Nevermind sold an estimated 30 million copies so far, and In Utero sold an estimated 15 million copies so far.
And that's probably like. The intention, Kurt, the people want like another slick and polished album than Nevermind, but Kurt was obviously wanting something completely different to that. I think Kurt really achieved his objective, like on some more stripped down like punk rock album, just like what Bleach had been in many ways.
It's still heavy though.
It is ridiculously heavy, dude, I must say. So it's just full of fuzz and scuzz and distortion, like we were saying, but obviously. It's much more refined. Like Kurt really found his vocal style.
Apparently, because there was after In Utero was recorded, there was a new addition to the band to tour with.
There was Pat Smear, guitarist,
formerly known as now as the Foo Fighters' original guitarist, and also now back in Foo Fighters. And apparently, after the touring and stuff, Kurt had been working with Pat and had new sound. He said he had good working with passed away, but the only songs we've heard after that is You Know Your Eyes.
That's true, and I think he featured on their MTV Unplugged performance as well.
Oh yeah, he has a very good-looking guitar on that one.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's like
guitar.
Red, yellow, and blue. I think.
That sounds beautiful.
Body of the guitar.
I mean, it was actually in a band before Nirvana, which were relatively successful. I don't know, there's some by them on a Grand Theft Auto game again, but I can't remember the name of the band. But I know he did play a part in that band, And when Iggy Azalea passed away, it was sort of as we're saying, a backlash for the commercial, mainstream acceptance had gotten.
Yeah. And then when it came to Unplugged in New York in 1994, they'd looked at bands before. And they'd seen that they were treating it like a rock gig at Madison Square Garden, just playing all their hits. And so Nirvana wanted to do something differently. So they played quite a few covers of this gig. They played some original tracks such as Polly and All Apologies. But they played 3 tracks in a row featuring the band Meat Puppets.
Which was totally unexpected because people didn't expect more conventional artists that bands cover.
Well, Nirvana had been touring with Meat Puppets at the time, so they covered songs like Lake of Fire and Plateau. And after they finished their 3-track thing with the Meat Puppets, Kurt asked anybody for any requests, and people shouting out something like Sliver. Chris Novoselic starts playing Sliver, but then somebody shouts In Bloom, and one of my favourite Kurt quotes is when he says, "How are we supposed to play In Bloom acoustically?"
Yeah, it's just it's basically Nirvana do it on their terms. I know
pretty much on their terms is the best way to describe it, because they'll do what they want.
They will, and that really seems the punk rock alternative spirit. And during MTV asked the band to play the show, Kurt wants the stage set out a funeral or something, all flowers and everything.
Well, it's a lot different to other bands with you, because Pearl Jam before them was just them in a room.
Yeah.
Same with Stone Temple Pilots, just them in a room.
Yeah, I mean Kurt said Pearl Jam just mainstream puppets. I think once he wasn't the biggest fan of Pearl Jam. I think Kurt Cobain's biggest favourite bands are the lo-fi, bands like the Meat Puppets, for instance.
Yeah.
But I mean, MTV Unplugged performance, it was obviously an exceptional performance from the band.
It wasn't released though until a couple of months after Kurt's death, and since then there's been a few albums or compilations released which Nirvana have been profiting on, I guess. But I don't know if it's just bad to just keep selling stuff about Nirvana, but it's overlooked. Yeah. Everything that's reissued or sold is overlooked by Chris Novoselic, Dave Grohl, and Courtney Love.
And Courtney and Dave Grohl still going on.
Yeah, by the Muddy Banks of Whisker in 1996, another live album.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what do you say, dude? The legacy of Kurt Cobain has become cross-going the spotlight now.
He pretty much revolutionised just the music world in the 90s and made sure that it was going to sound awesome.
Yeah, I mean, his legacy will be around forever, but would you say it's gotten more popular again since his passed, or?
I guess last week, due to it being a 20th anniversary, a lot of hype has been involved around his death. I guess more people are probably going out to buy his albums and stuff.
Yeah, it's that can happen sometimes, but basically the band's material, as I say, all 3 albums sort of different. And obviously MTV Unplugged with things what could become next. Kind of Michael Stipe, saying the next Nirvana album could be more softer and have more
that's what I like
a mellow touch.
Nirvana, because you can see early Soundgarden sort of similarities
in a way,
yeah.
And it's punk.
Yeah, but no album is the same when it comes to Nirvana. I feel.
All 3 are different.
Especially with Nevermind being in between the 3 studio albums.
Yeah, that's the peak. Bleach was down point, Nevermind was there, and then you Herald the album they wanted to make.
Yeah.
And with MTV Unplugged, actually spawned a couple of really well-known songs from bands like The Man Who Sold the World and Where Did You Sleep Last Night.
Oh yeah, they covered David Bowie and Lead Belly as well. And there's some penultimate covers which are also featured on the 2002 Greatest Hits issue, and so those tracks which are also featuring You Know You're Right. That's the first time people had ever heard it, I guess.
Yeah,
already being published.
I think it's the last thing the band recorded in early 1994 or something. So although The Man Who Sold the World's a cover song, when you hear that riff, you immediately know that it's the Nirvana. So I guess Nirvana sort of popularised that song.
Definitely, they helped, especially with David Bowie's track. just because it was popular, I think, with David. It was popular, but then Lulu covered it. I'm not sure if it was more popular then or not, but Nirvana really emphasised that track.
Yeah, I mean, I associate the song more with Nirvana than if like the artist originally did it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, these like lo-fi bands like the Meat Puppets, for instance.
Well, Lead Belly was one of the band's favourites because before they announced it, he just goes, "This is one of our favourites." He looks at Dave and like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Nirvana like really helped these bands like cross into the spotlight. So obviously, like Nirvana like really, you know, high in like, you know, popularity at this point. So, you know, by covering these songs by like more like low-key artists, or like elevated their status, maybe, would you?
Yeah, say? Well, I mean, the status was always very high.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, for like just the part that Nirvana played, you know, in the alternative scene, you know, like Kurt Cobain was like the originator, you know, would do like all the biggest ideas.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty much him was doing all the songwriting.
Yeah, I mean, like it was more of a character than like the others. Like all the others like wanted like maybe with the exception of Pearl Jam, but we'll get into like most of the characters. You know, they like really relish fame, whereas like Kurt didn't like really want to play a part in that.
No, although he's the most recognisable name, probably because he was the front man.
That's true, and
just his attitude and the things he did.
I know it's like yeah, out of all like the guitarists who could so bad like Chris Cornell, and who's this more talented, Kurt Cobain or Chris Cornell, like musically wise?
I'd probably say Kurt Cobain because Kim File was better than Chris Cornell.
Yeah, and obviously in Nirvana it shows the talent. Like Kurt was like the driving guitar force behind the band, whereas in sound band he got two guitarists.
Yeah, I mean they got past me a little bit. That was due to the musical writing and stuff.
Yeah. So like I would say like. Because obviously Pat Smear didn't feature on Iggy Terror came afterwards.
No, he was a live guitarist, yeah.
Yeah, would you say like, if like the band had like recorded the album with Pat Smear, it could have like, you know, taken the spotlight away from Kurt Cobain, or would you say it was sort of like...
still would have been around Kurt Cobain, but I think the guitar stylings would have been completely different.
Yeah, because in like, you know, Kurt Cobain, as I said, like was the driving guitar force. You know, so Pat Smear was like, you know, when the live performance of Pat Smear, like the sound was still all Kurt Cobain, wasn't it really?
Yeah, pretty much just his vocals as well. And that's the thing about Kurt, he didn't always do his vocals how I wanted, just think he did sloppy like on top of the pops.
Yeah, it's like he'll do things. Yeah, that's why he seems like a pioneer for the alternative genre. Like he'll just do it once. If you know, he'll do things on his terms, so the people don't like it, then it just
punk influence.
Yeah, like that's sort of thing like ties all his bands together. So like the punk influence, you know, wants to make a change, but. Would you say like grunge sort of like groove like more than like what people were ever expecting, you know, from these artists?
Yeah, because I mean, like the late 80s, not many bands are selling that much, and
nah.
You get Ted and Nevermind in 1991.
I know it's ended up dethroning Michael Jackson album. You know, that was the point where like grunge should arrive. And also, I think that's why another reason like why Kurt was like, you know, him and his band Nirvana like, you know, recognised like really high in the genre, because obviously, you know, when they're not Michael Jackson, they made a big impact on the scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean like Nirvana, you know, their influence, you know, it cannot be denied amongst, you know, this genre. You know, they've got like, you know, they did things on their terms. Kurt Cobain was Kurt. You know, they were like the epitome of punk rock in many ways.
Yeah, they're still alive today, and especially with Dave Grohl as well, becoming like in two awesome bands.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get that very often at all. You know, I think Nirvana did right by sticking with Dave as opposed to just kick him out and going over the drummers.
Yeah.
It's like a revolving door, but like it plays.
Just like while he was still in Nirvana, he was also working on this new project called Foo Fighters.
Indeed, and their debut album.
I love their debut album.
I did too, man. Like there's a song there called it's not For All the Cows. It's like the last song, Ecstatic or something. But yeah, that's like retain like the rustic like rawness of like, you know, Nirvana's material, what they were like lo-fi production.
Then you have tracks like Big Me.
Yeah, which is like, I say that's like a version of Polly in many ways. So I was like, Dave was like keeping the Nirvana, which say like Dave was like keeping the Nirvana spirit like with the Foo Fighters like first album.
Especially with the quality of the recording of the album, especially.
Yeah, it's so lo-fi.
Very strange lyrics on there. I'm just trying to remember the song. It was like fingernails are pretty.
Oh, it's not Big Me. It's
no, it's like
I'll Stick Around.
I'll stick around. No, it's not.
Is it For All the Cows?
No, it's one of the singles. I just can't remember.
I'll say it again. This is a Call.
Yeah, this is called the first track, I think.
I think so too, yeah.
So you just named more great tracks on this album, saying I'll Stick Around, another hard-hitting power chord song.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, with Iggy Terror, like, you know, even though Nevermind's obviously like the big beats, like, there are, Iggy Terror is like, we argue it's like up there with it,
Oh, yeah,
really.
I personally, probably because of the commercialism, the mainstreamism, and the amount I've listened to Nevermind. It's influenced me a lot, but I do prefer In Utero to Nevermind.
Yeah, and it's like with In Utero, like, you know, the production's obviously a lot better. And it sort of highlights, like, you know, just how good Bleach was if, you know, you were in the room with the band at the time of the recording.
Indeed.
I mean, like, In Utero, like, sums up, like, all the good parts of the band. You got Kurt's fine vocal style, and you got, like, the great guitar sound. It just... And that's why, you know, In Utero is to be recognised as, like, you know, up there with Nevermind. So, yeah, I think that just sums up Nirvana, guys and girls. Hope you all enjoyed our review, and yeah, it's been... are you enjoying Alternative Funk so far?
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yes, me too. It's been a great pleasure to get these videos out for you guys and girls. I hope you're all enjoying it so far. So yeah, until the next review, I've been Jonny Middleton.
And I've been Travis Ward.
Stay safe, stay strong, and we shall see y'all in the future forever. Amen. Peace.
Yeah.